Hello everyone, welcome to SN and in today's video I'll be showing you how to build a crop disease prediction model using PyTorch. Okay, so as in one of my previous video I've told you that we are building this agrivision project for one of my hackathon event, and that event was IIT BHU's Eco Hackathon for the under their annual Tech Fest Tech Next 25. Okay, and unfortunately we couldn't grab any rank like first, second, third, but still I thought let me show you how I have built this crop disease prediction. Okay, so about this project our vision was to build an one at a time solution for our farmers so that they can get yield prediction, crop disease prediction, crop recommendation, and real-time marketplace and NDVI vegetarian index feature. Okay, so as I have built this crop disease prediction model, so I'll be showing you how I have built this. So before that, let us see how it's work. Okay, so first let me log in. All right, so crop disease prediction. Okay, now let me try it out with, let's say, bell pepper, and let's say bell pepper. We have these two categories. Okay, we have one bacterial spot and another one we have healthy. Okay, so bacterial spot predict the disease, bell pepper healthy. Then let us try another bacterial spot. So let's say this one. So yeah, it is giving us. Okay, so of course the accuracy is not 100%, so sometimes it will give you some wrong result, but it works most of the time. And now let me show you how I built this model. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's now talk about the code. Okay, so this code implements the deep learning model using PyTorch to classify the disease in paper bill plant leaves. Okay, and it mainly uses ResNet50 architecture, and which is a pre-trained convolution neural network known for its strong performance in image tasks. Okay, and why I have chosen ResNet50, because I have studied lots of paper that it has that for this crop disease prediction model people generally uses VDD 1415. Then we have efficient net, we have deep net, and sometimes you can create some scratch CNN for that. But ResNet50 has given like the best results among all of these things. Okay, so that's why I have chosen ResNet50 for it, and I'll be showing you that how the code looks like, and I'll also give you the code at, like, of course, the code link. Okay, so yeah, let's check it how it's look like. So our first step would be to import our libraries, right? So you could see we have NumPy, Pandas, OS, Torch. So let me tell you all the significance of these libraries, right? So as you know, NumPy is for numerical operations, Pandas is for data frame handling, OS for file system interaction, as I'll be taking the files from my Google Drive to this Colab notebook, right? Then Torch for core PyTorch libraries, torch.ann for my neural network modules. Then this one, torch.optim for my optimization algorithms, right? Then we have torch.utils.data from where we have imported dataset and data loader, and this is for to handle that amount of images properly. Then we have torch vision.transforms for image transformation. Then we have PIL as pillow for image loading and manipulation. Then sklearner model selection for splitting data into training, validation, and test sets. Then processing for level encoding. Then TQDM for design the progress bar, like this progress bar. Then matplotlib pyplot for plotting the graphs of the accuracies and those losses. And torch vision.models from where I'll be importing my ResNet50. Okay, so all the libraries is done. Let me run this, and yeah, for that you need to connect your runtime to T4 GPU. Okay, I hope you know that. So import libraries. Now our next step would be to create a dataset class. Okay, and why we need this particular block of code? Because we need to define a custom data, like a dataset class to load and pre-process the image data, because the image data will be in an RGB image, in an like in proper RGB image where some lots of extra pixels, right? So we need to transform the data, we need to label encode each and every pixels. So for that, and this init is for to initialize the dataset with their image path label, like with the category of the label, then also to transform the pipeline. Then length mean how many images do I have. Then get item, this is the one of the most important part of it, as it defines how each data point is accessed. It opens the image using its path, converts it to RGB, as you can see, converts it to RGB, and applies any specified transformation. From here I am using normal transform, but it could be like resizing or normalization, as whatever you feel. Then we'll be simply returning the processed image and its labels as a PyTorch tensor. Okay, now let me run this code. Okay, now we have data loading part, and this particular block of code reads image path and their corresponding labels as like the disease names from the specified directory structure. Okay, so let me run this. Now we have data preparation. Here you could see I have to mount my drive to my Google Drive. So drive.mount, I need to connect my Google Drive, this one, continue. Okay, so my drive is now mounted. Now I need to give the directory root. Okay, and in my Google Drive I have my paperable image in this plant village dataset. So let me run this, and you could see we have two categories as paperable bacterial spot and another one is paperable healthy. Okay, now we have image path label load image, and it is giving us how many images do we have. We have 2475. Then we'll be simply label encode their each and every pixels. Did that. Now here we are dividing all the samples into training sample, validation sample, and test sample. We have 1732 at training, 245 for validation, and approx 500 for testing. So now our task could be to transform. Okay, for the transformation you could see we have this function as transforms.compose. Here we are first resizing this image into 224,224 size. Then we are using some random affine, and this applies this random affine, right? And what this does, this applies some random rotation, some translation, and scales to the images. Okay, and this helps the model to generalize better for the variation in the image orientation. And it has several parameters as degree 10. This is like the random rotation between -10 and +10 degrees. Then we have shear 0.3, like this one, and this shear mapping with a maximum shear angle of 0.3. Then we have scale. This is the random scaling between 50 to 150% of the original size. Then we have random horizontal flip, like it flip the images into multiple directions. Then we transform it to a tensor, and we do the same thing with the validation test, but we do not conduct all, we just simply resize it and we convert that to a tensor. Okay, let me run this. Now we have two block of code for the data loading part. Okay, now we have loaded here my training dataset, validation dataset, and testing dataset. This is also the batch size of 32, and we have loaded our train loader, valid loader, and test loader. Okay, now we need to visualize the sample, like what are the images do we have. Okay, so for that is a simple iteration function, nothing complex over here. It just simply visualizes the sample images from the training dataset to get a sense of the data and the applied transformation we have. Okay, done. Now let's talk about the model. So this is the model definition function, and it defines the ResNet50 model, and it modifies the final fully connected layer to match the number of classes in the dataset and moves the model to the appropriate device, like for the GPU. Okay, so here you could see we have number of classes 2 and the device we are using is CUDA, and this is the model. We have ResNet50 default. Okay, so yeah, so ResNet50 is now in this collab notebook. Okay, now this num features and a sequential, we are dropping out this 0.01 and this linear function. Okay, now loss function and optimizer. For this we are using this, like this defines the loss function and the optimizer for the training module, right? And for this cross entropy loss, this is the standard loss function for multi-class classification problems, and it generally combines log softmax and n triple loss. Okay, and then we have Adam for the optimizer, and for the learning rate we are keeping a 0.001. You could change it for your own personal testing. So let me run this. Done. Now we have the model summary. It will give me the model summary and the GPU training, everything. Okay, now the training loop. Okay, and this particular block, it trains the model for a specific number of epochs, right? And we have 10 epochs, so it iterates through the training data in the batch, and the batches, we have 32 batches, and then it calculates the losses, then it update the model parameter, then it evaluate the model on the validation data, right? So you could see over here thing. Now I'll just simply call the function. So we have 10 epoch, train the model, train loss, validation loss, and train the model. So let me run this code, and it will take like some 20 to 30 minutes for the training part. Okay, so I'll come back again when it will be done properly. Alright, so now you could see we have already our epoch 9 have given us around 97% for training accuracy and 97% same for the validation accuracy. Okay, now this is the epoch 10, and yeah, so you could see the final training accuracy is 99 and the validation is 99. So you could see that my model is slightly bit of overfitting, as we have only like we have like less than 3000 images, right? So if you can get some more images, you could get some better like non-overtrained model. Now I'll simply save the model and I'll export it as a .pth extension. Okay, so this, and wait for that. So here you could see we have my .pth file. Now I'll plot the loss functions across the whole 10 epoch. Okay, so you could see the training loss and the validation loss has been extremely minimized at the last. So yeah, then we'll test the model. So for that I'll need to run this on my testing datasets. Okay, so now my testing is also been done. Now I'll test by using some images. Okay, so this is the testing function for the prediction, and here we would first load the model, then we'll transform the images, then we'll load and pre-process the image, then we'll make the prediction. Okay, now here I have given this JPG file, and this is my paperable disease ResNet50 model. Okay, now I'll run this, and you could see it is giving me paperable bacterial spot, which 99% of confidence. Okay, so this has been the whole thing, and I hope you have get the idea of how to predict and crop disease prediction model, and I'll give you the GitHub repo link of this whole project at the end of this video right now. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.